Hold on. Unmute. There you go. I'm back on, right? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Back on, back on, back on. Give me a heads up that we're back on. Yes. Sorry, I accidentally muted it. All right, I'll start over. Trent Out Loud, live and direct from the Diddy Courthouse, 500 Pearl Street. Yes, we are back on good. All right. Live and direct from the courthouse in front of 500 Pearl Street. And we came at you this morning, as we always do, at 7 a.m. to give you a rundown of what we were going to see today. And now we're back for lunch, as we always do, to give you a recap of the morning. And we will, of course, be back this afternoon, 3 to 4 o'clock, to give you a complete summary of the entire day. Things went down today. There was a mix of craziness with freak-off tapes. As you guys can tell from the thumbnail and the title, I saw a Diddy freak-off tape. I will get into that for you guys. I actually saw a Diddy freak-off tape. Wow. All right, let's get started. I'm a little all over the place because I made some notes a little bit earlier and things that I want to get to. Yeah, it is hot out here. Welcome, South Africa. We are back. We are back. We are back. What up? All right. Before we get started, I will give you guys. Melva said, "Oh my gosh, Tennessee, what up?" Before I get started with the midday, I just want to give you guys a refresher of what I was talking about. Hi, how are you? Give you guys a little bit of a refresher of what we talked about today. If you guys didn't catch earlier. Over the weekend, the defense and the prosecution was going back and forth of the jury verdict instructions. Like I said, that was already reported this morning. Just give you guys a quick summary over the weekend, back and forth. They started out today talking about the jury summary as well too. The judge has not made the definitive jury verdict summary, and what that is once both sides wrap, the jury will get instruction. They're deliberating on how the questionnaire is going to look. They're similar to, they've kind of agreed a little bit this morning on how they're going about doing it. The defense wanted it to be very complex in the beginning, and now they want it to be very, very simple, and vice versa. Now the prosecution was starting out a little bit simple, and now they want a little bit more details. So just to let you know, they have not decided on what the exact jury instructions are going to be, but there will be a questionnaire for the jury to fill out, okay? Diddy's team wants the jury to take into consideration that he was intoxicated and that he was on some DRUGs. We don't know if that will be accepted yet. The statute of limitation has passed for some of the RICO charges. They don't want to consider anything prior to September the 12th, 2019. That was also not addressed, okay? Now, let me just make sure where we are. We also talked about this morning about if Diddy's defense team is making a mistake of making their defense from 2 or 3 weeks to maybe now 1 or 2 days. We have a little bit more information. I'll get to that soon. We already talked about this and cross-examination. Okay, let me get to this morning, how we started off, okay? Today, so far, there's only been one witness on the stand. His name is Joseph Cerello. He is a summary witness. Before he got on the stand, the judge, as I just told you, spoke about the verdict sheets. They have not come to a conclusion on verdict sheets. Uh-oh. Oh, a biker just got hit. Hold up, did you guys see that as I was talking? Ooh, she looks like she's all right, though. Jeez. All right, she's okay. She's okay. Wow. It's New York, man. Gotta be careful out here. Jeez. All right. So they talked about the schedule. So the prosecution is trying their best to get their witness off of the stand by the end of day today. The defense and the prosecution have agreed to meet tomorrow, prior or today after court, to talk about some inconsistencies in the prosecution's case. If they can agree on that, They said that they will stick to schedule and maybe we will go to closing arguments on Thursday. That is the schedule. So hopefully, and this witness that's on the stand, well, the summary witness that's on the stand today for the prosecution, the defense will cross-examine this afternoon, maybe going into Tuesday. The defense will put on something or somebody Tuesday, maybe afternoon, a little bit Wednesday. They mentioned also giving the jury a longer break, and maybe we will have closing arguments on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the jury might get the case delivered to them as early as Thursday. They could start deliberating Friday. We may have a verdict by Friday. I will stay locked in. You guys know sometimes on the weekends I leave. I am staying here this weekend in case anything goes down, okay? We may have a possible verdict this Friday. One thing I want to tell you guys about that I was talking with a security guard, and this is one of the things I like to try to bring you guys, because if you see people like on Twitter and writing things or testimony, or you get transcripts, you don't get to feel what's going on live in the courtroom, and that's what I really want to focus on trying to bring you guys of what's happening inside the actual courtroom. I was having a conversation with a security guard that has worked in this courtroom for the past 20 years. And I won't give his name because I don't want to get him in trouble. But he says the prosecution is putting on one of the most boring cases he's ever witnessed. He said that the amount of repetitiveness that the prosecution is putting on is mind-boggling to him. And he says most judges that would be in this courtroom would not have allowed the prosecution to be so repetitive. I think that is bombshell to hear about. We'll try to talk about that a little bit more this afternoon. I don't have a lot of time. Court starts back at 1:45, but I think that is huge, a huge indication of what we talked about this morning on why the defense may not want to put on their case as long as they wanted to anymore, because they could tell how fed up the jury is because of the prosecution. I'm going to go a little bit into today of what the summary witness is, but I'm going to just jump ahead quickly and then tell you a couple of things. Sorry, somebody's just sending me something. Okay, so something about Trump. 2 or 3 jurors were fully asleep today. Not maybe just nodding off or a second or two. I'm talking about full sleep. I heard some deep breathing. That's how bad the day was. The prosecution, although I'm not taking anything away from them, they're making a great case. They're putting on amazing testimony. They're putting on amazing evidence for text messages. And I've even said a lot of the text messages now makes it direct evidence. However, it's extremely repetitive. It's extremely redundant. And for a security guard who's been in this courtroom for 20 years, saying that most judges would have said, excuse me, this is already in evidence, get this out of here, keep going. We do know that this judge who's on the case right now is very afraid of appeal courts, and he wants to make sure that he's giving each side their due diligence and giving them enough time. That is why he's letting the prosecution be as repetitive as they want, so that he has no problems after. We do know, or we not 100% know, but we could just assume that Diddy, if he gets convicted, part of his plan is to try to go for a mistrial or try to go for an appeal. The judge, prosecution, very, very repetitive, very, very redundant material, okay? So let me get a little bit into the summary witness from today, okay? And then if I have time, I'll get into the freak-off videos, all right? So this summary witness, for those of you who don't know what a summary witness is, we've seen a summary witness before. A summary witness, the prosecution has mountains and mountains of evidence and text messages and audio messages, voice notes, video, and they put it in like, looks to be like an Excel spreadsheet. So you'll see Sean Combs text Cassie. This was the text message. Then you could click it and it opens. They were at this hotel, the Trump International. You click it, you see what's ever attached. There's this, and it's lines and lines and lines and lines. So instead of giving this Excel spreadsheet to the jury and being like, here, they have a summary witness go through the quote unquote Excel sheet to give context. But also what they're doing is it's a way for the prosecution to have the jury hear testimony again without bringing another witness in. So when the summary witness is reading Cassie's text message, it's like hearing Cassie. It's like she's in the room again, and they can't call her back up, so they just read her text message. Today we heard a lot of Jane and Diddy text messages. I'm going to get a bunch of it into you, but instead of bringing Jane back, what do? You have a summary witness that his job is, we took all of these, all these text messages, all these videos, all this audio that the prosecution gave me, and I'm just verifying it to let you guys know that it is true and it's verified. So if they say Cassie texted Diddy, I want to do a freak off, he is there to say, hey, I solidified that. I checked the phone records. She did. She said she wanted a freak off. She said she don't want a freak off anymore. She said she wanted to buy DRUGs, this, and this. This is what this is today. And that's why it's redundant, because we've heard testimony from Jane. Jane was on the stand for almost a week, so a lot of it is repetitive. But I'm going to break it down for you guys, and I'm going to stop at the freak off, and then I'll come back on this afternoon and give you more information, okay? So Joseph Cerelio, sorry if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. He is a special Homeland Security agent. He was not involved in his case. Tenny Garagos asked him, were you involved in this case? No, I'm literally just here as a summary witness. Were you asked to verify the charts, which is like the Excel spreadsheet? Yes, I was. How many pieces of evidence were you given? Thousands of text messages, thousands of emails, and thousands of exhibits. That's what he had to go through and check and verify in these charts. This chart that you had to go through, it was over the span of May 2021 and August 2024, okay? There were messages from Cabal, who is an SEX worker. There were messages for Diddy saying that he wants to get on flights, that he wants to buy flights. There was text messages between Diddy and Cowboy for Angels. You know, that's Diddy's, party team that he likes to call on. That's literally supposed to be dancers, that if they come over to your hotel and dance and something else happens, well, that's on y'all, right? So there's a lot of text messages between Cowboys and Angels. I'll get a bit into that later on. Cabal and Jane, who was one of Jane's favorite SEX workers. We do know Paul is her favorite. There's text messages that there was hotel damages for $10,000. Text messages between Antoine and Jane. There's a guest for $3,500. Hold on, let me skip here. Boom. Hold on. Okay, here. There's text messages between Diddy and Arthur. Text messages between Diddy and KK. Voice notes that were sealed. The reason why this is important, and I don't have to get into it, is when you hear KK, you know that's Diddy's chief of staff. I don't want to bore you by telling you every text message that they read out. Like I told you, it was putting us to sleep. The last thing I wanted to do is put you guys to sleep. But know what you know from Jane. That was the text message. Jane saying, yeah, I want a freak off. And then her saying a couple of days later, that was a horrible freak off. Yo, you put hands on me. Why did you do that? I'm tired of doing these things. So it's, again, certain things go towards the prosecution side, saying, I don't want to do this. Certain things go towards the defense side, saying that I do want to do this. There was text messages about Plan B being in the drawer. There's text messages of Benny the jeweler. Multiple explicit videos of Jane. This is really what I want to talk to you guys about, okay? Once they said to him, were there multiple? There you go, guys. I'm back. Hold up. I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I am back. My phone just overheated. I'm right here, y'all. Sorry, my phone overheated. I'm here. All right, I had to move to the shade. Hold on one second. I am back. I'm back. All right, that's that New York heat, yo. Jeez. There you go. Yeah, sorry about that. New York heat, yo. All right, let me try to stay in the shade over here now. All right, we're back. All right, there. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Yo, sorry. All right, so now let me tell you guys about these freak off tapes, okay? Where was I? All right, so they asked him, they said, Joseph, were there explicit videos that the defense, that the prosecution wants you to go over? He said, yes, there were freak-offs. And in the freak-offs, I can identify that Cabal was there, who is one of Jane's favorite SES workers. There was another man and Diddy, okay? Now, if they were found guilty, they may not understand. Okay, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 freak off videos played, okay guys? Listen to this. When they play freak off videos, not even the lawyers are supposed to be able to see it. What happens is it's only supposed to play for the jury. And it's only supposed to be played on one screen. And whoever is there doing the questioning, they're supposed to go to that one screen and go and see it. One of Diddy's lawyers, I'm not going to call him out, for some reason, the feed went on his screen as well. And the way how I was sitting, because a lot of Diddy's teams weren't there, and I sit on Diddy's side, well, that's where the 14 content creators are, or public, so I sit right in the front row. There's myself, and I'm right here, and then there's like 3 or 4 empty benches for Diddy's family, but his sons are not here, only his mom and his godson are here. So I was able to have more space than usual in between myself and one of Diddy's lawyers. I saw directly into his computer, and I saw one of Diddy's freak-offs. Let me tell y'all, Diddy is a freaky deaky diddler, yo. Wow, I'm not going to take the risk and tell you guys what I saw, because I'm in the courtroom and there's a certain level of secrecy that I have to keep. There was 2 other people that caught on, that saw that I was able to see, and they kind of like shifted over. I will tell you, it was red lit, and Jane was definitely in there, and there was another guy and Diddy, okay? I saw a freak off. I saw a freak off. Crazy, crazy, crazy. As I was looking, I was trying to not gain too much attention, but then, like I said, another person that was sitting beside me saw that I was peeping it, and then the security guard saw us kind of peeking over, and then he came and he told the lawyer, he's like, hey, close your laptop because people in the gallery are seeing. So I'm going down as a legend here that I saw one of the freak-offs. I actually kind of want to unforget what I saw, but it will go down as something that's super private, that was very, very privileged. So I guess it's still a positive that I at least got to see it. But exactly, somebody said wash your eyeballs, 1000%. So yes, I was able to see one of Diddy's freak-offs. Now, getting back on track here, I just want to see my notes 1 second. We don't know. Okay, this is what I want to say about the freak-offs. All jokes aside, I thought this was very important, and I wanted to really get your guys' opinion on it. Other than what I saw, that I cannot tell you guys exactly it is what I saw, but we have to assume something. While we're out here talking about the case and everybody has their own opinion, is Diddy guilty, is he not guilty, or whatever, I wanted to ask you guys, if the prosecution is playing parts of the freak-offs where it looks like Jane may be coerced, or maybe there's fraud, or maybe there is, forced fraud or coercion, does that make Diddy guilty? We don't know the parts of the freak-offs that the jury is seeing. Now, let me tell you, the first time they played parts of the freak-offs, they played very, very small parts of it. I told you guys that I feel like there might be a reason why they're waiting until this week to drag out the case a little bit. Although I did say that it's kind of getting a little bit annoying and the jury's getting a little bored, but I think there may be a reason why they wanted to carry this on till today and play more freak-off videos. If the case goes to the jury this week, you want to have that fresh visual of what they were seeing on the freak-offs. And like I said, I was able to see 2 of them. They were able to see 10 of them. And like I said, I'm not going to say what I saw on them, but you got to think that if the prosecution is playing this for the jury, they're trying to find parts of the freak-offs that are definitely not favorable to Diddy, okay? Just want to make sure that my phone doesn't get too hot again. Want to make sure it's out the sun completely. Yeah, I got to stay out the sun, guys. Okay. So I just want to tell you, so one of the tapes they played from minute 50 all the way to the end. The next one they played from the start to 45 seconds. One of them they played the entire video, which was short. Then they played one, listen to these times, tell me if it makes sense to you guys. From 0 minutes to 45 seconds, then 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and then 7 minutes and 40 seconds till the end. If you ask me my opinion, I think if you're playing something for the jury, I think the only proper way is to play from the beginning to the end. I don't like and I don't think it's fair that the prosecution just gets to pick little times that they get to play. And now when I go back inside, when the defense team has a chance to cross-examine Joseph, they have an opportunity to pick which parts of the freak-off they want to play. And I don't like those games because at the end of the day, there will be parts that the jury doesn't see. I think the law should be changed where you want to submit into evidence a video, we need to see the whole entire thing. And that would be the only fair way for me, in my opinion, for the jurors to be able to determine if this freak-off was forced, fraud, or coerced. Now we do have text messages, but they're very conflicting text messages. Some text messages says from Jane, wow, I can't wait to do a freak off. I love this. Let's get Paul. He's my favorite. I had the best O's with him. He has the biggest D word, this. And then you have text messages saying, I really don't want to do this. I really hate doing this. I'm doing this for you, which I'm going to get to this afternoon. I don't have much time. Make sure you guys tune in. I'm going to give you guys the whole day, okay? Lunchtime, by the way, sidebar, lunchtime is actually my most unfavorite thing because I'm rushing and trying to get everything to you guys at the end of the day, 3, 4 o'clock. I'll be able to slow down and give you the whole summary of the day. We'll get a little bit more into the freak-offs and a motion that they're trying to pull off, okay? Motion 29. And make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But anyways, another freak-off was from 1 minute to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Then one was from the beginning till 1 minute. What happened after the 1 minute mark? Why are you stopping it at 1 minute? Does it look like it's forced, fraud, or coerced the first minute? Does it look a little uncomfortable? But then after that, it's utopia and she's having the most fun that she's ever had in the world? Why do we have to wait for the cross-examination to see that, or for the jury to see that? There was another one that they played from 1 minute and 30 to all the way to 4 minutes. They played one from 0 to 1 minute and another one from 0 to 2 minutes. After they played the freak-off tapes, Maureen Comey walked back to where she does the questioning, so prideful, because remember I told you she goes to the lady that is playing the videos for the jury. It's only the jury that can see the freak-offs, and Maureen goes to just that clerk, let's just say. But her walk back was like, yeah, you know what I mean? It was like super, she was very confident in herself. I really think, like I told you, I was waiting for a bombshell. I was waiting for something really big from the prosecution, and I think that's what we got today. I think they waited to play a longer version or more damning versions of the freak-off to leave that in the juror's head, now knowing that the defense is probably going to rest this week. Remember I told you guys it's all about strategy. It's all about let's see what they're going to do. And Mark, Diddy's lead attorney, Mark, what's his last name again? I always forget his last name. Mark Agnifilo. Mark Agnifilo has been playing games about the witness list, when they're gonna start, when they're not gonna start. We finally find out today he's gonna rest this week, or him and his team are gonna rest this week. Now they play these long freak-off videos. I think that was really, really smart. Last notes I have here, lasted mainly an hour, the same context. Oh yeah, sorry, this was a question. So Maureen said, hey, I just played you guys 10 videos, but we have a lot more. So she's basically indirectly telling the juries, like, I can keep on going, but I'm just gonna ask my summary witness, hey, summary witness guy, Joseph, were there not a lot more videos other than the 10 we just played? He said yes. From March the 15th, 2023, March the 21st, 2023, July the 4th, 2023, July the 31st, 2023, and then August the 8th, 2024. And he said, were they all similar? Yes. Did they all last almost an hour? Yes. So if you take what they played and what he testified, It's arguably around 20 or 30 freak-off videos. And remember, this also goes towards RICO, and it also goes towards SEX trafficking under force, fraud, and coercion. So really, really, really does not look good for the diddler. But like I always say, whenever the prosecution has an opportunity to put on their case, it's a master class, and then you have a master class that's going to answer this afternoon when Diddy's very, very expensive $3 million defense team gets to put on their masterclass and see how they could break it down and see how they could find any mistakes that Joseph made, poke holes in this summary chart. Hey, there's this text message, but you forgot about this. You're putting in that Jane said she hated doing freak-offs, but I found one on the same day that said she loved it. So I'm gonna go back in, figure out that what that is about. Make sure you guys tune in this afternoon. I have a very, very explosive motion that the defense is going to try to bring up tomorrow morning. I want to give you guys a sneak peek of that. Motion 29. This is a trick, or a trick, quote unquote, but a motion that Diddy and his defense team are going to try to bring in front of the judge to completely turn this case upside down. Make sure you guys tune in this afternoon for that, all right? Before I'm going to take 3 minutes and look to see if there's any questions in here that you guys want me to answer. Put them in here right now if you guys want to. Somebody said Diddy is done. It's no games. It's time to constrain. You keep saying everybody really fall asleep. The lawyers know what to do. So they have to play what's most important. Fair. Why do you want the jurors to watch the whole freak-off video? It would be porn. I want them to see the whole video for context. If I have a video that's 15 minutes long and I'm using it as evidence, there's a reason why whoever shot it, Diddy, for 15 minutes. And I think 1 minute of a video could be misleading, and I think you should be able to watch the whole thing. For example, we all seen 2 minutes of the CNN tape. The jury got to see the whole 15 minutes of it to give it context. So that just shows me if they want to play the entire CNN videotape, which looks horrible on Diddy, if you're going to play the whole CNN tape, why don't you play the whole freak-off tapes? We've been here for 7 weeks. What's the point of taking half the day to watch the tapes? Again, it gives more context. You cannot play 1 minute that looks like it's coerced or looks like it's forced, and you don't know the next minute it might be utopia. Again, these are just my opinions and what I would like to see. Somebody says it's up to the jury, 100%, but a lot will come down with it. I was agreed on in court to show the video after Jane and Cassie has been on the stand. It was agreed in court, yeah. Well, I don't know if it was agreed or not, but that is, they're allowed to do that with summary witnesses. That's the beauty of summary witnesses. A summary witness is just there to testify. Hey, I put this in the file. I put this in the summary. Oh, really? What's in the summary? Click. Oh, it's a video. So it's an indirect way of getting to play whatever you want and say whatever you want from text messages without bringing the person back. And the prosecution will tend to do this at the end of their case, and it's just refreshing the jury's mind. Again, I'll talk more this afternoon. I think it might hurt them because it's very, very repetitive. Remember, I started off by telling you guys a security guard who's worked in this exact same court for the past 25 years, close to 30 years, he said that it's getting overly repetitive. But again, we're just giving examples, right? I'm just here to give you guys the information. I came inside the courtroom to give you guys the feeling of the courtroom. If you guys think, oh, it doesn't matter that the jury's tired, they're still gonna convict him, that's up to you. I don't care what the security guard said. They have to go through, that is totally up for you to decide. That is not for me to decide for you. My job is just give you information. I am your eyes in the courtroom. That's all I'm here to do. Can't they watch the whole thing in jury deliberation? No, you see, this is a good question. What the prosecution submits as evidence and what they submit in the summary chart is only what they have. So for example, can they watch the entire CNN tape? Yes, because they submitted the entire thing. The only thing that the jury can watch is what the prosecution submits. So that, I told you that minute to 3 minutes, that's what's submitted. They do not get the whole thing. But now, like I said, when we go back in, that's why I have to jump off now, the defense now and Diddy will go through the tape and they will be able to submit. The jury only gets to see and work with what the prosecution and the defense submits. So I think it's unfair on both sides. You should just submit the whole tape. Why should Diddy get to say what he wants them to see and the prosecution? Just my opinion, I don't think that's fair. That's why there is so much BS on top of this case, 1000%. I'll see you tonight, Trent. Yep, jury is ready to come, 1000%. Spot on reporting specs, thank you very much. If he is free, the people will fear for their lives. Okay, anyways, guys, I hate lunch hours. I'm sorry that I had to rush. I see a lot of comments there. Tune in. Court is supposed to finish at 3. I think they're gonna go a little bit long. I'd probably be on around 3:30, 4 o'clock, all right? You'll get the notifications. Thank you very much for supporting. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing lunch, all right? And I'm sorry for a little disconnect for the hour. I'll do everything from the shade so my phone doesn't get hot, all right? I love y'all. Peace.